morning, my dear children, and welcome again. Today, we will discuss about the part 2 of our chapter, Light and Shadows. So, in our today's session, we will discuss about what is shadow, conditions for the formation of a shadow, characteristic features of a shadow, and formation of shadow at different times of the day. So let's get started. In our previous class, we studied about transparent objects which allow light to pass through them. Second, an opaque object which do not allow light to pass through them. And third, translucent object which allow light to pass through them partially. Now, let's talk about shadow. So, what is a shadow? When light falls on an opaque object, light is obstructed and a dark patch on a screen kept behind is called a shadow. So, when light falls, you can see my hand out here. You just see when light falls on an opaque object. So, source of light is coming from this way and my hand is an opaque object and light is blocked out here and you can see the image behind my hand. It is a shadow. So, you can see this picture again out here. So this is light and this hand is an opaque object and you can see the shadow behind this hand. So it is a shadow. So what is a shadow? When light falls on an opaque object, light is obstructed or blocked and a dark patch on a screen or surface is called a shadow. So, we know that when light falls on an opaque object, it gets reflected. This creates a dark image on the surface at the other side of the object. So, this dark image is called the shadow of the object. Similarly, when sunlight falls on our body, it gets reflected and our shadow is formed on the opposite side of the light. So, the formation of a shadow is a natural phenomenon. So, a shadow is formed when an object blocks the light. Now, let's see what are the things required for the formation of a shadow or the conditions for the formation of shadow. So, conditions for the formation of a shadow. So, a shadow is formed when the path of light is obstructed or blocked by an opaque object. A transparent object does not form a shadow, whereas translucent object forms a light shadow. Thus, for the formation of shadows, the following three things are needed. So, let's see what are the three things needed for the formation of shadow. First, a source of light, which is very important. Source of light. Then second, an opaque object that comes in the way of the source of light. Then we have a screen or a surface on which the shadow is formed. So what are the three things needed for the formation of shadow? First, a source of light. Second, an opaque object which block the source of light. And third, a screen or a surface on which shadow is formed. So you just learned some interesting facts about shadow. Now let's see the characteristic features of the shadow. So shadow is formed when light falls on an opaque object. Shadow is formed only in the presence of source of light. Shadow is formed in the direction opposite to the source of light. And shadow form is always black in color. The color of shadow does not change with the change in the color of opaque object and the color of light falling on it. So the color of shadow is always black. The size of the shadow changes depending on the distance between the sources of light and the object. That's why we call it increases with a decrease in the distance and vice versa. And the position of shadow changes with the position of source of light. The brighter the light, the darker the shadows. So these are the characteristic features of shadows. Now, let's see the formation of shadow at different times of the day. As we know that shadow of an object is formed only in the presence of source of light. So, shadow of an object is formed only in the presence of source of light. So, for the formation of shadow, source of light is very important. Thus, a shadow cannot be seen in the dark room or during night as there is no source of light. You must have noticed during night time we cannot see our shadow or in the dark room. So during the day, as the source of light, that is the sun. So sun is the natural source of light. So the sun moves, the length and the position of the shadow also changes. So morning, you will see different like size of your shadow, different size of your shadow. At noon, during daytime, midday, you will see the different size of the shadow, and in the evening also. Same way, it is actually due to the earth. So why the position or the size, when the position changes, the size of shadow also changes. So why? It is because it is due to the earth's rotation. That is, that the position of the sun changes throughout the day. So due to the earth's rotation, position of the sun also changes throughout the day. That's why our shadow also, like we can see the different size of a shadow. So early morning and during the late afternoon, morning or in the evening, when the sun is near the horizon, a long shadow of an object is formed. You will see the long shadows morning or in the evening. The shadow becomes shorter during the middle of the day when the sun is overhead. So shadow becomes shorter during the middle of the day when the sun is just above our head. So children, I will show you one more example out here. So you can see this picture. So this is stick out here and this is the sun. So you can see the sun, picture of sun. So here morning, PM, evening, and here AM, early in the morning. You can see the size of this stick, and during 12 noon you can see the size of the stick. So size of the shadow changes the position of the sun. So children, we spoke about what is shadow, conditions for the formation of shadow, that is things required for the formation of shadow. So what are the things required for the formation of shadow? First, a source of light. Second, an opaque object. And third, a screen or a surface. So these are the three conditions or things needed for the formation of shadow. And we spoke about the characteristic features of shadow, like shadow is formed when light falls on an opaque object. Shadow is formed only in the presence of source of light, and the shadow is formed in the direction opposite to the source of light. And we spoke about formation of shadow at different times of the day. So children, we will stop our class till here for today. I will see you all in our next class. Thank you.